Hello everyone, today's poem is 关山月 by Li Bai. 关 the blockage castle, the gateway. 山 the mountain. 月 the moon. This is the most outstanding objects in the northwest China in the Tang dynasty's frontier area, the Silk Road, basically. That's the vast area surrounding the Silk Road. The title 关山月 is borrowed from the musical department of the Han Dynasty, so which means it's a song, basically, and the title and the music is fixed, and people can fill in different lyrics, so it will have many songs titled as 关山月 but with different lyrics. And this one could be the most famous poem or songs titled with 关山月 by Li Bai. And after Li Bai, there's still a lot of people writing poems with this title, 关山月. So from the title, basically, it implies or predefines some of the contents of this poem. Basically, it's talking about the frontier things. 关, of course, there's soldiers, there's cities. 山, the landscape is either the huge snow mountains surround the desert or surround a valley, the Silk Road, especially in today's Gansu province, just like a valley, a very, very long valley. It's in this long valley, there's fields, farmers, people can lead the life just like the mainland, inner land in China. But beyond this belt areas, it's snow mountains or it's desert. So shan, snow mountains is very outstanding landscape or view in that area. 月 is common things everywhere. The moon is everywhere, but the moon is always associated with thinking about people, family members, friends, thinking about each other when they are separated by a long distance. And the moon is the only thing they can share. They share it with each other. Actually, that's not the only things. The feelings, the thinking of each other is the second things. So most of the time, the moon and the thinking to each other in a Chinese mind is the same thing, or it's just one thing. This poem is one of the few blockage castle poems Li Bai wrote, and could be the most famous blockage castle poem by Li Bai. Anyhow, in my own opinion, it's a combination of the blockage castle poems and 思乡怀人, the thinking to each other poems, departing poems. It's a mixture of the two, and with the feeling and thinking to each other, which make this poem quite unique and special, and also it moves the readers a lot. 关山月 李白。明月出天山，苍茫云海间。长风几万里，吹度玉门关。 汉下白登道，胡窥青海湾。由来征战地，不见有人还。戍客望边色，思归多苦颜。高楼当此夜，叹息未应闲。Like most of the Li Bai's poems, quite straightforward, and we need a second thought or a second readout to taste the profound feelings of it. Let's go through the sentence one by one first. The title is an old ancient title borrowed from the Han Dynasty musical department. So it's about the things in the Blachk castle, and normally it was written about the thinking between the soldiers and their family members. Because of the yue is always about thinking to each other, to family members, to friends. 明月出天山, though the bright moon come out from the mountains. The Tian Shan, there's a Tian mountain today in China, in Xinjiang province, but the Tian Shan in Tang Dynasty is today's Qilian Shan. So basically that's the mountain along the Silk Road. 苍茫云海间. So the bright moon comes up from the mountains and moving above, and then it was surrounded by the sea of clouds. 苍茫 refers to the dark blue and vast floating clouds. 长风几万里，吹度玉门关。The long wind blows several thousand, no sorry, not several thousand. One is 10,000. It means several 10,000 miles. And then finally, this long wind get to the Yumen blockage castles. The Yumen, the jade door blockage castle, is the most famous blockage castle in the Han Dynasty, and also it's still quite famous in Tang Dynasty. Though basically it only refers to the long wind from my home, from the soldier's home, blows several 10,000 miles to the frontier area, to the jade door blockage castles, 玉门关. From this sentence, we also know it's the springtime or very late spring in the inner land of China, because from the springtime, the wind direction changed from the north wind to the south wind. So in the spring times, the south wind blows from the southeast to the northwest through several 10,000 miles after several weeks, and finally the spring wind reaches to the frontier area, to the blockage castle here. Also, we can see with these two pairs of sentences, the moon in the first sentence and the blockage castle in the last sentence, 玉门关. So that's the blockage castle, and also the mountain, the Tian Shan, the sky mountain, or the Qilian Shan today. They all showed up in the first two pair of sentences. So normally that's the tradition. You should mention the Guan Shan Yue in this poem, and Li Bai mentioned these three characters at the very beginning, very straightforward with the power and also with the space. Look at the huge mountains, so that's the space. The long wind blows several 10,000 miles, and from the inner land, from the Chang'an, from the capital city, and that's also the huge space brought up to your mind. Also, that also refers to the time. It's the springtime. It's the time season for life and growth. So, when we read about the Tang poetry, you should always pay very special attention to the space and the time. The time could be a pinpoint of a time, or could be the period, the time last. This phenomenon actually, for my own opinion, never has been such strong and beautiful written in the before dynasties and even in the after dynasties. 汉下白登道，胡窥青海湾。汉下 in the Han dynasty, so the Tang dynasty, they only compare their own dynasty to the Han dynasty because these two empire or these two dynasties has so many similarities. They expand to the north, to the northwest so much, and also the country was so strong. Anyhow, 白登道 is a place near today's Datong, Shanxi province, Datong city. I have been to this place. 白登 refers to a mountain, and it's the emperor of the first Han emperor was surrounded by his enemy, the Han race, or basically they are the nomad people in the northern China, in Mongolia. So the nomad people always has battles with the Chinese through the Chinese history, and the first emperor of the Han dynasty was surrounded there by the Han, the nomad people, almost defeated and killed, and finally he figured out some way to escape. The last words, Dao, is not wrote in Tang dynasty. That's the name for the province or regions. So the Tang Empire, they have 15 Dao or 15 regions. So actually there's no region so called as 白登道, but here the Li Bai geniusly borrowed the term 白登 because when we mentioned 白登, everybody will think to that battle between the Han dynasty and the nomad people, and also it's a defeat, it's a shame. So Li Bai geniusly combined this character, the region, the term of the region, and that battle's very pinpoint place, very mountain together, and to use that to refer to the vast boundaries, the vast land in the northeast of the China, which is also the very traditional battlefield between the Chinese and nomad people. And with the first character Han Xia, so everybody in their mind is the battle and all the vast boundaries land over the northeast direction of China. 胡窥青海湾, Hu, the Turk, or it's not a Turk, but that's the Chinese old way to call the people, normally the nomad people, in the northwest or in the north. So Qinghai Wan, so Qinghai is the Qinghai Lake, that are very famous tourist spots in today's China, and this refers to the same place. And also this area, the northwest directions, the boundaries of China, the Tang Empire, is also a battlefield through the Chinese history, between the nomad in the northwest of China. So basically, 汉下白登道，胡窥青海湾, which means which pointed that these two places has battles between the Chinese and the nomad people through the history. We can see that more clearly in the following sentence. 由来征战地. So from the history till today, it's the battlefield. And 不见有人还, we never saw people come back from there. 戍客望边塞. 戍客, the soldiers who is guarding the frontier, guarding the blocked castles. 客 refers to they are staying at a place from their home, from their hometown. So they are as a guest staying there, guarding in the blocked castle. The soldiers look to the colors in the frontier areas. So this is the springtime. Before the springtime in this area, basically it's two colors, the white snow and the yellow or gray color of the Gobi Desert. And when the spring comes, the green color, the flower, the red, pink color has emerging everywhere. So they eagerly looking to those green, pink, and red grasses, trees, and flowers. And that's all about life and growth. And the place they stayed means death, no life. So that's a big controversy staying here at this spring season. So the next sentence comes out very naturally. The soldiers look at the very vividly, very lively green trees, green grass, flowers, and they think about their future, and they think about going back. 思归, they think going back, which means they can continue their life as well. And of course, they finally will always think about their family members, their wife. And the thinking about their wife also means life, living, and production, growth. And what they think all about those things together with the beautiful views in front of their eyesight. Of course, it's a sadness, huge sadness, and the sadness reflected on their face. 颜 is the face, 苦颜 the bitter color of their face, very sadly. There is another version of this sentence, 戍客望边邑. So they changed the 色 to 邑. 色 is color, the color of the spring. 邑 means the town, the blocked castle. So I do prefer to use 色 because it referred back to the seasons, and the life, the growth has a huge contrast to their destiny, to their fate. 高楼当此夜，叹息未应闲。Though with all the above sentences, we think the poet Li Bai was staying with the soldiers surrounding him. He's in this very remote large castles, looking to the snow mountains, looking the bright moons, as the soldiers did. And the last sentence has something different because the term 高楼, the high-rise building. So, because in the ancient poems for Tang people, the high-rise building normally refers to the residence house for the women who stays in the home, stays in the capital city. So that's the high-rise building 高楼 normally refers to. So if the high-rise building refers to the women who is staying at home in the capital city, Chang'an, in Luoyang city, so here could be explained in two ways. One is the soldiers is thinking going back. They are thinking about their family, his wife. And so the last two sentences is the thinking about the families. He just try to figure out, in my home, several 10,000 miles down to the southeast, in the high-rise building, my wife may just sign never stopping, because she is just thinking of me always as myself did. And this is explanation one. The second explanation is from the poet Li Bai's angle. He continued his writing. So previously, by his observation, he read the bitterness, the sadness of the soldiers in the frontier areas. And the last sentence, he thought back about the wives in the hometown. And in those high-rise buildings, the wives of those soldiers at this night, 当时at this night, they must sign as well, and should never stop. 魏应贤, 魏 never, 应 could be, 贤 idle or stop. So this last sentence, 叹息魏应贤, means the wife signs could be never stopping. We have gone through all the wordings of this poem. It's quite simple for the Tang people. The only few obstacles for today's people is 白登道, 青海湾, but all those terms is very popular words, normal words for the Tang people. Anyhow, this poem is not easy. Li Bai started with a huge, very broad view at the very beginning, the magnificent view of the sky mountain, the several 10,000 long wind, and the most famous blocked castle, 玉门关. So this gives the atmosphere, the feelings, such a huge space. And then he mentioned all these places as a battlefield from the very ancient history till today. But he never blamed to either the nomad people or the Chinese emperors. He didn't mention that. Who knows what the battles, the wars are for? Who knows? And very quickly, very straightforward, he pointed out the people suffers. Nobody comes back from the very beginning till today. The people all suffers. And finally, everything focused on the families, the husband, the wife, in the frontier areas, in the capital cities, Chang'an, and the vast inland of China. Every family, every husband, every wife at this night with the bright moon in such a huge, immense space mentioned with the first two pair of sentences, the feeling, the sadness, actually, you can feel the feeling and sadness actually has filled all the space, the several 10,000 miles in long distance, and between the high-rise snow mountains and the moon above. So the sadness and the sinking to each other filled all the space. This is the greatness of Li Bai. He was such an ambitious people, and he thinks the way of as a normal person, and he feels such a sympathy, not just sympathy, he feels the same as the normal people, normal family. And we can also cross-check another poem, quite similar poems, 子夜吴歌. I had that such video, you can search for that. 子夜吴歌, it expressed the same thing in a different way, in a different place, in the capital city, Chang'an. So this poem was based in the place, in the frontier area, several 10,000 miles from Chang'an city. So it's no difference. The husband, the wife, they are the most bitter people, the people with the most sadness. Just one doubt of this poem. I have no idea if Li Bai wrote this poem in the real place, like the poem described, in somewhere in the frontier areas, in a blocked castle, or it's just a imagination when he stayed in the capital city, Chang'an, and he wrote this poem. So I have the doubt, and I didn't figure out. Maybe you can do your own homework to find out when, at what age, and where Li Bai wrote this poem. And the background definitely will put something on this very sad poems. Next week is the Chinese Mid-Autumn Festival, the festival for the family reunion, the festival to celebrate the family value for Chinese. So I wish you all, no matter you are Chinese or you're not Chinese, you can also have a happy family, and we all enjoy the happiness between the family members and the strong relationship, the bondings within the family. Okay, that's for today, and bye-bye.